Friends, so now we have finished the ICI study mate on house property. Now we are going to start the CMA study mate of latest study mate, that is 2022 का study mate. आप अगर थोड़ा कोशिश करते हैं तो आप भी डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं. And 2022 study mate of CMA is looking very good. It also contains lot of more problems. So friends, we will start with the CMA study mate. But before going to start that, I am extending my heartfelt wishes to all of you. Very, very good morning. Hope you all are keeping well. And let us continue with the CMA study mate in detail. In this latest CMA study mate, the problem is starting from problem number 38 to 62. So there are 24 problems. Friends, so far as theory is concerned, we have done with the theory 100% in the last 5 class. And this is the 6th class. So I am straight away going to the problem. While doing the problem, I will also take the theory. I will just revise the theory portion also. So we will do problem number, you can note it down. The problem number 38 is the starting point. We will discuss here problem number 38. This is problem number 38. You can see it in the screen. This is relating to finding out the reasonable expected rent. That is expected rent they are asking us to find out. This is very fundamental problem. And problem number 39 is also, they are going to find out the annual value. In problem number 39, you can see in the screen. Please, friends, please either note down the question so that, or download the question. The question must be in your hand so that you will understand better. So 38, 39, we shall also discuss 40. This is also very simple. And 40 is, this is the question of 40. When there is a unrealized rent but no vacancy, you have to find out the annual value of the property. Friends, again 41, when there is a vacancy period but no unrealized rent. So you can see the question in the screen so that you will understand better. So with this we will revise today. We will do today up to question number 41, and in the next class we will start with question number 42. Friends, so let us start doing the problem. Friends, let us concentrate on problem number 38. Problem number 38 में they are asking us to find out the reasonable expected rent. CS study mate में ये था expected rent. Here it is reasonable expected rent. Both are same. So let us find out the expected rent or reasonable expected rent for problem number 38. in this problem they have not given you the question, it is a part of illustration. They have given you the house number 1. They have given you the gross municipal value. Gross municipal value 10,000. Now fair rent 8,000. This is your fair rent 8,000. So these two things are given here. Then standard rent is 10,000. Standard rent 10,000. Actual rent has not been given here. So let us come to the flow chart which we had discussed in class 1. Also we had discussed lot of times. So municipal value or fair rent, जो step 1, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. ये out of municipal value fair rent 10,000 is the higher amount. Then this will go to the second step. Second step you have to take the higher one out of these two. 10,000 standard rent 10,000. Whichever is lower, both are 10,000 and 10,000. So this is which is higher. Which is higher. Then this higher one will be taken to the next step. So 10,000 and this is also 10,000. Which is lower. So both are 10,000. Whichever is higher here, 10,000. Again you take 10,000 and standard rent 10,000. Whichever is lower, both are same. So 10,000 is the reasonable expected rent or expected rent. So reasonable expected rent or expected rent equal to 10,000. So this is how we can do the house property 1. So let us come to house number 5 of this problem number 38. I am discussing with house number 5 because all house 2, 3, 4s are same. So let us come to house number 5. Municipal value 16,000. Municipal value is 16,000. Fair rent 17,000. Fair rent 17,000. And standard rent as given is 20,000. Standard rent is given as 20,000. So whichever is higher, you just let us start. That is municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher, that is 17,000. This 17,000 will go to the next step. Next step में ये standard rent whichever is lower, तो 17,000 is the lower. आपका जो फ्लो चार्ट इस तरफ था, ग्रॉस म्युनिसिपल वैल्यू और फेयर रेंट which is higher. Gross municipal value is 16,000. Fair rent is your 17,000. So whichever is higher, 17,000 will come over here, and this will be compared with the standard rent. Standard rent is 20,000. and whichever is lower, so 17,000 is the expected rent. So reasonable expected rent or expected rent is 17,000. This is the answer for house number 5. Now let us come to the illustration 39. That is 39. In this 39 problem, no unrealized rent, no vacancy. If there is a unrealized rent of the current year, then it will be deducted from the annual rent. Vacancy, ये problem में भी vacancy नहीं है. Let us come to problem number 39. So ये 39 problem में let us start with house number 111. This is the house number. That is house number 111. This is the house number. Gross municipal value 120. Gross municipal value. Fair rent 105. Fair rent 105 and standard rent is not given. Actual rent receivable 100 and no vacancy. Actual rent 100 and there is no vacancy over here. So what we have to do? The standard rent is not given. So let us come to the flowchart. In this problem 39, they are asking you to find out the annual value or gross annual value. So let us come to the flowchart. Gross municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. So 120 gross municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. The higher one will go here, higher. Then the higher one will go over here, 120. Actual rent is 100. Actual rent is 100. Standard rent नहीं है. So expected rent, standard rent not given. So expected rent is your 120. This is first step, this is second step. Standard rent is not given. So ignore standard rent. So expected rent or reasonable expected rent will be 120 here. Then we have to compare this with the actual rent. Actual rent 100, expected rent or reasonable expected rent 120, and there is no vacancy. Actual rent is lower here. Actual rent is lower, right? So actual rent is lower but no vacancy. अगर वैकेंसी नहीं है फिर भी एक्चुअल रेंट कम है, तब कोई दूसरा रीजन है. सो इन द थर्ड स्टेप द एक्सपेक्टेड रेंट is the gross annual value, or reasonable expected rent is the gross annual value. So our gross annual value in this problem, actual rent is less than expected rent due to other factors. Vacancy, not due to vacancy, but due to other factors. So expected rent 120 is gross annual value. Expected rent 120 is gross annual value. This is house number 111. I think all of you understand this. So gross annual value is your 120. Now let us come to another one house, that is 114. House number 114. In this house, they have given you the gross municipal value 150. This is your gross municipal value. Fair rent 155. Fair rent is 155. This is given over here. Standard rent 180. Standard rent 180. And actual rent 175. Actual rent is 175. So friends, let us come to that particular flowchart. This is gross municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. So higher is 155. Then 155 for standard rent, whichever is lower, higher. So lower is 155. Now expected rent or reasonable expected rent is 155. Actual rent is 175. Friends, actual rent is greater than expected rent. So actual rent is greater than expected rent. So actual rent is annual value. Actual rent is gross annual value 175. This is your house number 114. I think this is very simple and all of you have understood. Let us come to problem number. So in this way there is no vacancy, no unrealized rent. In this way you can very well do this. Problem number 40 contains unrealized rent but no vacancy. Problem number 40, this is little bit. So problem number 40, when there is a unrealized rent but no vacancy period. So friends, here also there are 5 houses. We are going to do the house number 112, the second house here 112. So there is a unrealized rent. Unrealized rent का बारे में बोल देते हैं. If unrealized rent of the current previous year, then it is deductible, and from the actual rent, unrealized rent of not previous year but earlier year, तो अब ये डिडक्शन नहीं होता है. I will give you one example. Suppose we are doing the problem for previous year 22-23, assessment year 23-24, and unrealized rent relates to 2021. Then तो ये अनरियलाइज रेंट आपका एक्चुअल रेंट से माइनस नहीं होगा, डिडक्शन नहीं होगा. If unrealized rent is only for 22-23, the concerned previous year, then it only will be deducted from the actual rent. So after deduction, you have to just follow the flowchart and get the answer. So let us start with the house property 112, house number 112. This is the house number here. Municipal value, they have given you municipal value 500, they have given you, and fair rent is 300, fair rent 300. This is the fair rent over here. Standard rent under Rent Control Act. Standard rent under Rent Control Act 800. This is too much. Actual rent receivable 600. Unrealized rent 3 months unrealized rent. So actual rent, that is annual rent 600. इसमें 3 months unrealized rent is there, and unrealized rent relates to previous year 22-23, वो भी बोल दिया. So if unrealized rent relates to the current previous year, then definitely it will be deductible from the annual rent to find out the actual rent. Actual rent निकालने का बाद we can follow the flow chart. So friends, इसमें जो actual rent, this is actual rent, that is annual rent is 600 per annum, that means 50 per month, and 3 months unrealized rent. So rent is unrealized for 3 months as per question, house number 112. So 3 months में आपका 3 into 50, so 450 will be your actual rent. Now after finding out the actual rent, let us find out the gross annual value. Friends, again we will follow the flow chart, that is municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. So here higher is 500, whichever is higher. This higher and standard rent, ये जो आप देखते हैं, this one and this one, whichever is lower. So lower is your again 500. Here higher, then again 500 and 800, whichever is lower. This is your expected rent. This is expected rent or reasonable expected rent. Now this will be compared with the actual rent. Actual rent is 450. In your question, actual rent realized is 450. So actual rent is less. Actual rent is less than expected rent. Expected rent कितना 500. Actual rent is 450. Right? So actual rent is less than expected rent. But there is no vacancy. It is unrealized rent. That means for other factors. अगर अदर फैक्टर होते हैं तब आपका एक्सपेक्टेड रेंट इज एनुअल वैल्यू. सो एक्सपेक्टेड रेंट इज ग्रॉस एनुअल वैल्यू. सो ग्रॉस एनुअल वैल्यू विल बी 500. नाउ अगेन आई एम टेलिंग यू the flow chart, municipal value or fair rent, whichever is higher. So 500 and 800, whichever is lower. So 500 is the expected rent. This expected rent will be compared with the actual rent. Actual rent कितना होता है ना? annual rent is 600, 3 months unrealized. So 600 minus 3 into 50, it comes to 450. So actual rent is 450. So actual rent is less than expected rent, but not due to vacancy. क्योंकि ये प्रॉब्लम में आपका वैकेंसी नहीं था. Therefore friends, expected rent will be your gross annual value. This is your house number 112. Now, in this way, you can go for the other houses in problem number 40, and this is the principle. Let us now go to problem number 41. This is actually illustration 41. In illustration 41, there is a vacancy but no unrealized rent. Vacancy is there but there is no unrealized rent. Friends, you can, we are here also in 41, there are 6 houses. We are going to do house number 114. House number 114. So gross municipal value, the question is like this: gross municipal value, gross municipal value 500. This is your gross municipal value. Fair rent 180. Fair rent 180, right? And standard rent 225. Standard rent 225. Okay. Now actual rent 240. Actual rent 240. So this is your actual rent per annum, and property remain vacant for 1 month. This is annual rent, not actual rent. Vacancy 1 month. Friends, vacancy अगर 1 month होता है and annual rent is 240, so if annual rent is 240, vacancy 1 month, that means 11 month is let out. So we have to find out the annual value, actual rent for 11 months. So actual rent will be, actual rent is 240 minus 1 month vacancy. 240 is for 12 months, 1 month के लिए ये 20, so it comes to 220. This is your actual rent. Now let us proceed. We will go to the flow chart. So for your understanding, I am again doing the flow chart. Gross municipal value 500, fair rent 180, whichever is higher, the higher one will go here. This is 500. Standard rent 225, whichever is lower, जो lower, this will go to next step, that is 225. This is expected rent or reasonable expected rent. Actual rent, this is actual rent. Actual rent is 220. Friends, again actual rent is less than expected rent. Actual rent is less than expected rent. So friends, actual rent is less due to vacancy. क्यों? अगर 1 month vacant नहीं है, suppose the house property is let out for all the 12 months, तब मेरे को कितना मिलना था? 240. I would have received 240. So vacancy के लिए I have received only 220. Therefore, इससे पता होता है कि vacancy के लिए actual rent is less than expected rent. क्योंकि 1 month is the vacancy. 1 month में 20 is the rent. So rent is coming 220 for 11 months. अगर 12 month होता है तो I would have got 240. 12 month होने से हमको 240 मिलता था. Therefore, your actual rent is less than expected rent due to vacancy. Vacancy के लिए अगर कम होता है तो gross annual value will be the actual rent, that is 220. So a gross annual value is 220. So friends, problem number 38, 39, 40 and 41, they have only to find out the annual value of the house property. Problem 38, only expected rent. So in the next class we will go from problem 42 and onwards. Thank you. Have a very good night, and if you like my video, please subscribe and offer your comments. Thank you all.